It was a bad idea when it was just Bitcoin. It's probably even a worse idea when you're starting to add some other tokens. Look, there's no national interest here. This is not like oil, which has a use case, which is why we created the strategic reserve for oil. It doesn't help our economic situation. It's not going to do anything to lower the price of eggs or increase people's wages, and it doesn't help the dollar.
Our next guest gave testimony at the Senate Banking Committee subcommittee hearing called Exploring Bipartisan Legislative Frameworks for Digital Assets. Joining me now is research fellow and director of the Digital Assets Policy Project at the Harvard Kennedy School and former CFTC chairman, Timothy Massad. Welcome to the show, Chairman.
Thank you for having me, Jen.
We heard from President Trump on Truth Social that he expects to include a variety of digital assets in a U.S. strategic crypto reserve. Now, I know that you have thoughts on a strategic Bitcoin reserve and a strategic crypto reserve. What do you make of his comments?
Well, I'm sad to see them, actually, because it sounds like he really does want to move forward with this. And I think it's a very bad idea. I think it was a bad idea when it was just Bitcoin. It's probably even a worse idea when you're starting to add some other tokens. Look, there's no national interest here. This is not like oil, which has a use case, which is why we created the strategic oil reserve for oil. It doesn't help our economic situation. It's not going to do anything to lower the price of eggs or increase people's wages, and it doesn't help the dollar. The dollar's strength is rooted in trade and in our position in international trade. And the dollar's strength also depends on the strength of our economy. I see this really as a payback to a lot of the crypto people who supported him. And again, I just don't see any national interest. And I think it's bad for digital assets, quite frankly, because, what does it mean? Is the government then going to be looking at, seizing mining operations through eminent domain? Or are we going to be more vulnerable to hacks because of this? I just see no national interest here.
When the strategic Bitcoin reserve plan was presented by Senator Lummis at the Bitcoin conference last year, it was presented really as a plan to start to address the debt in the United States. It sounds like you're saying, this isn't the way to tackle that. Will you dig a little bit deeper into that for me?
Sure. Well, I think the theory of that case is let's buy it because the price is going to go up. And so we'll use that appreciation to lower our debt. But obviously, Bitcoin is very volatile. We've seen it drop significantly recently. And, you could make that argument with respect to equities, right? Equities generally go up over the long term, but we don't think it's a good idea for the government to try to deal with its debt and its deficit by buying equities. Look, we need to get our fiscal house in order. I'm all for that. But I don't see this as the way to do it.
Friends, DeFi is having a moment. Uniswap Labs web app and wallet connect you to the excitement. Swapping and bridging are simple, low-cost, and lightning-fast across 13 chains, including Base, Arbitrum, and Unichain, the new Layer 2 network designed for DeFi. Thanks to deep liquidity on Uniswap Protocols, you get minimal price impact on every trade, now with even greater efficiency through Uniswap v4. Swap, send, on-ramp, off-ramp, and bridge into a bright future. Get started at uniswap.org. You said Bitcoin was a bad idea. A crypto reserve with assets other than Bitcoin is probably a worse idea. Talk to me a little bit more about that. It sounds like your stance is that, these assets are just very volatile, so very unpredictable about what this could mean for the future. What's the difference between the two for you?
Well, I think also, picking Cardano, XRP, and Solana, why those three? Is that because the leaders of those companies and foundations have made the biggest contributions or just have Trump's ear? All these things are highly volatile. And again, there's just no national benefit to doing this. And why should people's tax dollars go toward doing this? When Trump first talked about this, he sort of was talking about it in terms of maybe holding on to the Bitcoin that we seize through criminal actions. And that is at least not as bad an idea because you wouldn't actually be buying Bitcoin. I'm not in favor of holding on to Bitcoin, just as we don't hold on to any of the assets that we seize through criminal activities, criminal enforcement actions. We return them to the victims, or we sell them. And I think that's what we should continue to do with digital assets. But at least you wouldn't be buying more of this stuff, which is really the bad idea here.
Stay ahead of the markets with the Crypto Daybook America's newsletter. Get daily price updates, key trends, and analyses delivered straight to your inbox every morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. Sign up now at coindesk.com/newsletters.